guys, I don't know if you remember when did in a previous video, I think it was titled how to change a starter solenoid on the Expedition, 99 Expedition. Remember I was telling you how if it doesn't start with the key, that you can jump the solenoid to start it. Okay, but you do want to be careful because you do want to make sure it's in park. Because then again, even if you do go ahead to jump it, and if it's not in park, it should not crank over with the starter solenoid when you jump out the solenoid. But what happens with these old Fords is the shifter cable can get loose. Okay, so when you put it up in park, all right, your indicator shows in park, and the vehicle is in park, but it's not pulling the cable far enough down on the neutral safety switch to engage the neutral safety switch to show it in park. It's maybe just a little bit off and not touching where it's supposed to be in park in order to allow it to fire over with the key. It may be just out of park on the neutral safety switch. So one of the things you can do is adjust the cable. There could be a couple things wrong with it. Okay, that's where you want to start with, and I'll show you here in a little bit. But you get up underneath there is an adjuster knob where you can adjust it. Okay, and you can adjust that linkage down or up. All right, and it's just a matter of having someone watch the indicator on the park as you have it in park, and when you're adjusting it, make sure to have someone watch the indicator to see which direction it's moving. Because if you're putting it all the way up in park and it's not reading in park, then you need to bring it back towards reverse a little bit more. But you want your indicator on each one. Okay, there's that adjuster wheel, and then there's two, I think they're size 30 hex bolts. I think they're 30s, I'm not sure. I haven't touched them yet, but they are up underneath where the lever that comes down the arm, as you move the lever and that cable pulls and moves that arm. Okay, there's two of those hex bolts that go in there. All right, a lot of times they'll back out and drop, and then you got a loose arm and it won't go all the way up in the park. Okay, because you put it up in park, it brings the lever down, and it can't go down all the way, because as you go down, the arm that's supposed to be holding that goes down would go like this. But if a bolt's loose here on one of those two, as you bring it down, the arm will twist and it won't go down all the way. Unless the arm is all the way back up, then it can go down farther. So it's either those two hex bolts usually, or first, the adjuster wheel. And I'm about to show you where those two items are. Actually, three items: two hex bolts and one adjuster wheel, where they are on a 1999 Ford Expedition XLT. I do believe this would be good for most older Ford vehicles, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. I do believe it would work on your F-150s, F-250s, F-350s, F-450s, Expeditions, Excursions. They're pretty much all the same. They've been doing this for a long time, is the way they designed it. There is a little plastic bracket under there that bolts in, where that hex wheel goes inside of. Now sometimes that plastic can be broken, and that could be your issue. So technically there could be three things wrong. But we're about to get underneath there, and we're going to go take a look and see what's going on. And by the way, if you would like to view that video of how to change a starter solenoid, I'm going to attempt. I've only done it once before, and I didn't know if I did it that well, but actually it did work. So let's try it again. I'm going to try it again this time. But I'll put a link to it. It should be right about here. Okay, about now or anytime now, it should be popping up. That'll be a link to how to change a starter solenoid, and that tells you exactly what was going on and how to do that kind of stuff. All right, so just look for that little card thingy to click on up there, and it'll open up a side panel, and then you can right click the video and open a new tab and finish watching this video before you watch that one. All right, or you can pause this one and go watch that one, and then come back over to this tab and watch this one. All right, so just to let you know, there is that video in my video lists how to. Let's see what it is. Let me scroll through here. Excuse me, I can't see the computer unless I've got these on. Let's see. It is called. If I can find it. Changing starter solenoid on 1999 Ford Expedition. Alright. That one actually got 29 views. Ooh, but no, it's hey, you know, it's pretty good. That means 29 people were interested because they may have had that issue. So you might want to go check that video out. That's not going to go up here again, but that's where it was. So if not, just go back on the video and wait for that to pop up there. Hopefully it's up there and not over there. So, but anyway, that was the name of the video, and that would be the one you would want to watch. All right, I just want to make sure, because there was one I had in here that said it doesn't start, folks, but that was the battery issue. Okay, corrosion on the battery. See, a lot of times you get in to go start something and it's like it doesn't start or it doesn't click or something. You're like, oh no, what's this going on? What's it going to cost? Oh no, and the heart starts pumping and the anxiety builds up and you're like, oh no, it's going to cost a ton of money. Well, how do I do this? I don't even know what I'm doing. Sometimes it's something very simple, guys. Something very simple could be the cause of the issue. Alright, so that's what these videos are about. I'm trying to show you guys that it could be something very simple. Alright, so if you did a keyword search and you found this video, check out my entire page. There's all kinds of things in there. I got cooking in here, I got woodworking in here, I got all kinds of good stuff in here. Alright, we're working on some other things, trying to get ahead and get it going on in the future here too. But anyway, just want to let you know that's the name of the video. Changing starting solenoid on a 1999 Ford Expedition. Alright, so let's get back to the video and let's show you how this is done. I got that light? Yeah, okay. Light's on. Alright, so we're going to get up under here. I like to get this out of my way. Temporarily, we're going to crawl up under here now. This is the direction we're going. Brake pedal, gas pedal. And we're going to be flipping upside down so you can see from my perspective, and your perspective will be from under the dashboard. Alright. If I can get the focus right. Now, there is... right here is your steering column. Okay, so you want to go up your steering column, and if you look, where is it at on here? There it is, right there. We're going to try this again. It's so tight up under here, I keep turning off the camera and I don't know if anything is recording. So let's start this from the beginning. Let me move my light a little bit out of the way here so I can get in there a little better. Alright, now it doesn't want to focus up in here so close, but can't get too far away. Oh, let's go over here. Hold on. Alright, we get up under here. Why is that light not on? There we go, light's on. Alright, that's your steering column right there. Okay, now you see those two bolts? I can't get my hands on them. Oh, I can't even see my hand in there. Well, let's try it this way. See those two gold bolts? Right here and right here. Now I do believe those are 30 Torx bolts, hex bolts, whatever you want to call them. Those will keep your shifter from not engaging if one of those are out. Those have a tendency to fall out. Okay. These, as you can tell, are still in. All my hex bolts are still in there. So that could be one of the issues that could cause the problem. So you want to check those. This is just right up under the dashboard. Really simple to get to. No tools needed. Okay. You can do this easily. Now, the other issue could be right there. It's hard for this thing to focus. But this right here, this plastic bracket can be broken. Okay, it's very simple for the brake. But right here is a spin wheel. You spin it one way and your indicator, like on your dash, will go either this direction or that direction. Spin it the other way, you know, spin it one way, it goes one direction, spin it the other way, it goes the other direction. You adjust this with your finger. It's really easy. And it'll adjust your cable so that your indicator will read up on your steering column directly in park or not. So if it's going up in park and actually going in the park, but yet you go to turn the key and it won't start, it could be your neutral safety switch is not reading it in park. So you need to tighten this up, okay? You tighten this up so when you make the shift, it actually will pull the cable and adjust your neutral safety switch right to show that it's actually in park, and then you can turn the key and start it right up without having to jump the solenoid or put the key on, turn the key in the on position, pull it down out of gear, put it back up into gear, turn the key off, and then try to restart it. This here can tighten up that cable. It takes you 3 minutes once you get you finagle yourself up under the dashboard. It'll take you 3 minutes. 3 minutes to get under the dashboard and to tighten that. All right, but it's always good to have another set of eyes up on the indicator so they can tell you whether it's going to the left, your indicator's going to the left or to the right, so you know which way to turn this. Now, if you have it all the way up in park and it won't go any farther, your indicator won't go any farther in park, but it's beyond the P, then you want to bring it a little bit over to the right so your indicator's right on the P. That way, the shifter level is going all the way in the park and it's reading on your neutral safety switch. But these are the only 3 things that this, you know, well, there could be other things eventually, but these are the 3 things you want to check right away. This first you want to eyeball those bolts, okay? You want to eyeball those hex bolts right there. You want to make sure all those hex bolts, especially those 2 right there, because that is the linkage arm there that's going to hold. So you want to make sure, see how they're right next to each other like that? There's your, right there is your adjuster wheel, and then those 2 bolts. One is out, that's your issue, guaranteed. You might want to look on your floorboards really well to see if you can find it, because otherwise you're going to have to order one of those bolts. You're not going to find them. They're kind of special. There's a sleeve, a thick sleeve from the head of the bolt down, I'd say, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch or so, a 1/2 inch, and then it's got threads. So it's not a full bolted bolt. And if you don't have the sleeve on it, then, well, you're going to need to order the bolt. But then that white part right there to the left of the screen, that little white part with the adjuster wheel, you can just adjust that and twist that with your finger, okay? And once you twist that with your finger, well then your issues are resolved usually. So this is just a quickie to show you how to make sure if you're going to start it and it does not start with the key, but does start when you jump the starter solenoid. On these old Fords, these things slack up. This is what happens. The bolts fall out or that adjuster wheel comes out of adjustment and you just turn it with your finger. That's all. All right, so now I did adjust it, so we're going to jump back up there and we're going to see if it starts, but then again, I won't know unless it does it again. All right, and it doesn't do it all the time either, so it wasn't that far out of adjustment, but I won't know until my wife tells me whether, hey, it didn't start. I did it again, and then I'll have to come back under here and twist it a little bit more. That's all. All right, so let's go back up top, and we'll see if she starts. If it will pause. Now I gotta get this. Oh, there we go. All right. Now I did move it to the right. I moved it this way. Okay. And it starts right up. And now go in the reverse. See, it's on the R, and it's in reverse. It's on the N, it's in neutral. It's on D, now it's in drive. Before, that was off of the D. It was slightly off of the D, and you had to jiggle this to make sure it got into the drive. But now it seems to be all right. Well, I hope that all came out. But I'm sorry it wasn't in focus. I tried refocusing, pulling back, trying to zoom in, zoom out type deals, and it just wouldn't focus. Now, what do you want for a little Android camera, huh? But those are, like I said, those are the three possible things, the easiest first things you should look at. First thing you should check to see if those bolts are in, those hex bolts. If they are, check them to see if they're tight. Okay? Because while you're under there, you might as well check to see if they're tight. That way they won't drop out, you know. But you don't want to tighten them too much, because those you can strip out too easily. But if one did drop out and you found it on the floorboard or what have you, I recommend you put a little Loctite on it and put it back in. When you tighten it, don't try to crank it down, or you will strip those. Okay, so just go ahead and tighten them up nice and snug, like you would a spark plug. Okay, same kind of thing, same kind of amount of torque you'll put on it, just amount size of amount you would put on a spark plug. So make sure those are in, and then check the adjuster wheel. Okay, the little black adjuster wheel. If it's bolted onto the white plastic piece, perfect. Adjust that wheel. If it's like hanging and there's still some plastic on it, well, look for the other piece of the plastic because it broke and it's not bolted up there anymore. And as you move it, it's just moving the cable, and it's not moving the cable inside. Okay, so you need the anchor point. So you would need another plastic clip like that to re-put that back up. But if it's up there bolted and the plastic piece is in one and the other two bolts are in, adjust that little wheel with your finger. It's easy to turn like that. That's all it takes. But have someone up there reading your shifter indicator. If you have it up at park and you turn it, ask them if it's going this direction or if it's going back up tighter into the park. All right, because if you have it all the way up in the park and it's moving like this, you bring it back this way and you put it all the way up in the park, and it'll move up there in park, which means you'll have your neutral safety switch engaged, and it should start with the key. So that's one way to do it. And this was a nice short little video, but it's a tutorial, and it's a really simple fix. A lot of people are like, oh man, my shifter linkage, what's going on with it? What's going on with it? Or if it's not reading the right gear, right there, boom, you can do this. A kid can do it. Okay, it's simple. It's very easy. So I just want to let you guys know that one, give you that one out. And a little later today, we're going to do a little bit of cooking. So we'll be looking forward to a new cooking video coming up. We're going to do like a lemon broil type thing, and then we're going to do some potatoes, and then we're going to do some greens. Okay, and we're going to do them on the stove. And I'll just show you a nice little way to make a delicious tasting meal. Alright, so look out for that video coming up here soon. And until then, this is Amateur Hour by Zeus. We're out.